Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into another episode of the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Shamaria Jackson, and in today's episode, there is going to be a bunch of celebrity gossip. There's so much celebrity gossip today. This is going to be your fill for the week, but let's be honest, celebrity gossip, it's just going to keep on coming, especially with this quarantine. So I thought, why not bless you, for this brewing of celebrity gossip that is going to keep you satisfied for the rest of the week. And let's be honest, there's probably going to be some more celebrity tea going on in this following week. But let me just start you off with some drama while we begin another week of being in quarantine. All of that is coming up. Do not change that dial. All right, guys. I hope that everyone has had a very good week thus far. I hope last week was really good for everyone. There has been a lot of news and a lot of drama just brewing everywhere. But I thought before actually diving into all of the celebrity gossip, the news, the rumor mills that are spinning, I thought, why not talk about, COVID-19. I know you guys are probably going to get so sick and tired of this. I know me personally, I am so sick and tired of the COVID-19. I am tired of being in the house all day. I'm tired of being bored, finding things to do. I've read the same book 3 times. I even ordered a new book called The Alchemist. If you guys have not read The Alchemist, I definitely suggest that you guys go and read The Alchemist. My brother was actually the first one who ever told me about The Alchemist. And then after that, I think Big Sean said it in an interview that he reads The Alchemist. So I was like, you know what, let me go and check this book out. Let me see how good it is. And so far, guys, it is so good. So if you guys have not gotten your hands on The Alchemist, Target right now is giving you 20% off of books. So take advantage of that sale. Go check out a book, read it, and then tell us in our comment section, reply to us, whatever you want, and tell us what books are you reading. And if you've read any good books, if you guys have any suggestions, trust me, I really need some suggestions with this quarantine, but not for long. People in Texas have started to protest about opening Texas back up. And actually, that's 2 states. I believe Texas and Florida are opening back up to the public. But many people are believing that it is way too early to be opening up their businesses, especially with the rise of COVID-19. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to talk about Texas and why exactly they are wanting to open their businesses back up. I mean, truth be told, there are a lot of businesses that are suffering because of this COVID-19. But as I've stated in past podcasts, this is to keep everyone safe. This is a virus that is going to kill you. okay? We have seen countless deaths already. I've already told you guys the polls on how many people have passed away because of this COVID-19. So I can understand why people are protesting because this is their businesses. However, at the same time, if everyone in your business ends up getting sick, then you don't really have a choice but to close your doors because there's no one there to help your customers. And then you might not even get customers coming in because not a lot of people want to be in confined spaces with people they don't know, especially with everything going on with this COVID-19. So here is what I read from Business Insider. There were several dozen people, including anti-vaccine advocates, who gathered outside of the Capitol building on Saturday, April 18th in Austin, Texas, to protest their state's lockdown policy as the coronavirus continues its spread across the country. So while the president has begun to urge states to relax their stay-at-home orders and reopen the economy, experts are still warning that doing so before the adequate testing is in place could lead to a devastating resurgence of COVID-19. Meaning, if you do this too soon, this could turn into an even bigger outbreak. Therefore, your economy is going to suffer a lot more than it's already doing now. And I think people are not quite getting that. I think people want their businesses open and they want them open now. But again, that goes with what I've mentioned on this podcast before, which is you can't please everyone. This past weekend, Austin, Texas, had an anti-lockdown protest, and it drew in a lot of anti-vaxxers, and it drew in a lot of Trump supporters. So here is basically what happened. There were several dozen people who gathered outside of the Capitol building on Saturday, April 18th, and it was in Austin, Texas, to protest their state's lockdown policy as the coronavirus continues its spread across the country. And what I really hate about this protest is the fact that it was something to have the voices be heard. It was trying to hear the voices of these people that were suffering through this COVID-19 because the economy is down. And it went from that to have an anti-vaccine people come in and state their opinion to many protesters all of a sudden being armed and carrying pro-Trump signs, Confederate flags, and signs calling Governor Gretchen Whitmer a Nazi. So it went from, I wouldn't say zero, it went from 0 to 100. I wouldn't say it went from 0 to 100. I would say it went from people wanting their voices to be heard to something that became very hostile and something that I wouldn't say it's a joke, but something that people don't want to listen to anymore, because this is something that doesn't include everyone, especially when you start pulling out, to me, the Confederate flag and calling people a Nazi and so far and so forth. It's not painting them in a good light. So your voice is no longer being heard. There's certain people who don't want to hear you anymore. And I really think that sucks. And the same thing could be said for Florida. Florida right now is, I believe, the third state to have the highest ranking of positive COVID-19 testing. And they're talking about opening up their beaches. Yes, they're talking about opening up their beaches. Now, Florida decided to open up their beaches 3 days after their death spike. I understand, people are getting tired of being quarantined. I understand people are tired of not doing anything and being bored and not being able to bring in the amount of money that they once brought into their households. Trust me, I do understand that. But at one point, do we decide to take care of ourselves and our healths and our immune systems? The state of Florida has passed 2 milestones in the coronavirus pandemic this week. It's deadliest day yet, and it's the reopening of their several public beaches. And can you guys believe that hundreds of people are flocking to the newly opened beaches? I can't believe it. I just can't. After sitting here on social media and looking at the rates of people who are passing away because of this virus, to turn on your TV every 2 seconds and see it in your face, to get on YouTube and every single commercial that comes on, people are urging you to stay at home and stay safe. Guys, this is serious. And the fact that they're going to sit up there and open up their beaches after having the 3rd deadliest day, I just can't imagine. I just cannot imagine it. This is crazy. This is so crazy to me. The Jacksonville mayor, Lenny Curry, said in a video statement, quote, "This can be the beginning of a pathway back to normal, but please respect and follow the limitations," end quote. I think the mayor of Jacksonville, Florida, had good intentions. You know me, I'm always trying to be positive on this podcast because positivity makes the world go round. But in this case, there's no positivity that goes through this. Guys, I can't. This is the beginning of a pathway back to normal. So and then his second part of please respect and follow the limitations, people just X'd that out of their brain and went through one ear and right out the other. They heard the first part of his speech by saying, this can be the beginning of a pathway back to normal. I believe people said, you're right, I'm going to the beach. And it wasn't just one person, not even 2 people. Oh, baby, no, not even a family. It was 100 people. Hundreds of people that went to the beach and sat there. They didn't think about social distancing. They didn't think about not sharing drinks. Oh no, they were living it up in the pool, laying on the beach, suntanning, playing with each other, drinking after each other, under each other. Goodness gracious. I figured, I guess, in my brain that people would just say, you know what? No, let me wait this out. Let me just wait it out. Instead, there's people who are not only putting themselves in harm's way, but they're putting other people in harm's way as well. And I'm so baffled. I'm baffled about everything that is occurring right now and why someone would run to the beach when there's a pandemic going on, or why people would urge the Capitol to open up during a pandemic like this. But I'm going to end this subject. I'm going to end this segment right here, because if I continue going on and on and on about this segment, I can guarantee you guys, we are going to be here for a very long time. So I'm going to end this segment here. We are going to be talking all about the stimulus check. If you are guaranteed for a stimulus check, and we're going to tell you all of the ways that you could possibly get paid with this stimulus check. All of that coming up right after this break. Stay tuned. Trust me, you do not want to miss a thing.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Before that break, I was talking to you guys about how Florida opened up their beaches and how hundreds of people swarmed the beaches despite what their mayor was basically telling them about practicing their limitations on what they talked about, which was obviously social distancing and staying at home. Despite him saying that, hundreds of people gathered the beaches. And speaking of hundreds of people, I also talked to you guys about how there was a protest in Texas about opening up their businesses. And as a fellow Texan, I do have to tell you, I did understand what they were talking about at first, but toward the end, there was a lot of foolishness going on. And I'm going to tell you like my grandma used to tell me, in this house, we don't mess with foolishness, baby. So for right now, I'm going to leave that situation alone. And I'm going to talk to you guys now about the stimulus checks. Did you guys get your stimulus check? Was it a nice stimulus check? So what is a stimulus check? A stimulus check is a check sent to a taxpayer by the United States government. And the stimulus checks are intended to stimulate the economy by providing consumers with some spending money. So when taxpayers spend the money, it will boost consumption and drive revenues at retailers and manufacturers and thus spur the economy. So I understand what the protest was about in Austin, Texas, but a lot of the people in the United States government are saying that they're giving us stimulus checks to keep us afloat. But I also mentioned that this stimulus check can only do so much for certain people in their households. Let's say for a family of 5. Or even someone who is working a part-time job, so they're barely getting by anyway. How are they going to benefit from something like this? Individuals with adjusted gross incomes between $75,000 will get about $1,200. Married couples with adjusted gross incomes between $150,000 will get $2,400. Additionally, the government will pay $500 for every qualifying child under the age of 17. The stimulus payments decrease $5 for every $100 above. So the $75,000 / $1,500,000 line and ends entirely for individuals making more than $99,000 and couples making over $198,000. You will receive, depending on how much money you make, according to either your 2018 tax return or your 2019 tax return. If you have not done your 2019 tax return, do not be scared. Do not stress out. Okay, there's no rush. Everyone has until July 15th to submit. So if I were you, I wouldn't stress out about it, but I would, put some pedal to the metal because July is about 3 months away and that can come up and sneak and attack us very quickly. I mean, look at how quickly we went through March. So I'm not telling you to freak out. I'm just telling you to put some pedal to the metal. Okay? So the stimulus check can either be sent to you via direct deposit, or it can be sent to you via snail mail. These checks will vary in amounts according to the taxpayer's filing status. Okay? So I believe you have to make less than $75,000 in order to receive a stimulus check. Okay, so this is how the stimulus checks work. The last time we have ever even used a stimulus check occurred when the United States economy entered a severe recession after the financial crisis of 2008. Okay, so in March of 2020, the United States government presented a bill to send Americans stimulus payments to provide a relief for economic hardships caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Among other provisions, the bill specified direct payments to families of $1,200 per adult and $500 per child for households making up to $75,000. The amount of rebate is gradually reduced for incomes above $75,000 per year for individuals and $112,500 for heads of households and $150,000 for joint filers. Okay, so again, what if that's just not enough for some people? Or what if they did get their stimulus check and they're afraid that there's sometimes that creditors can go into a person's direct deposit and take money out. So that is what a lot of people are nervous about. For instance, student loans. What if your student loan goes in and they take that money before you can use it to pay your car note or your rent? What is the person supposed to do now? Do you have to pay the stimulus check back? No. Your money is your money. This is not a loan. This is your money to save, to spend, to invest, or to donate. It all depends on you. It's not a loan, like I just said. So you're free to do what you want with it. But a lot of people also, according to NBC, they are nervous that the stimulus check will be eaten up by their debt collectors. A lot of people have been out of work for a big amount of time because of this COVID-19. So how are they going to pay back their debt? They're so afraid that these debt collectors are going to go in and they are going to take the check before they can even spend it on prescriptions, groceries, rent, or utilities. So what are they going to do? Well, at this point, New York, Oregon, and Ohio are doing their part into blocking banks and debt collectors from seizing stimulus payments delivered to residents under their CARES Act, CARES. Okay? So what is this CARE Act that we're talking about? The CARE Act stands for the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. It was passed by Congress with the overwhelming support and signing into law by President Trump on March 27th, 2020. This is over 2 trillion economic relief packages delivered on the Trump administration's commitment to protecting the American people from public health and economic impacts of the COVID-19. So basically, it's assistance for American workers and families. It's the assistance for small businesses. It's assistance for state and local governments and preserving jobs for American industry. And that is the end of our second segment. Coming up, I promised you guys some celebrity drama, and I'm giving you guys celebrity drama. All coming up after this break. Stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about stimulus checks, and there's certain people who are going to be receiving a stimulus check, and if you have not received a stimulus check via direct message, you should be receiving them via snail mail. Debt collectors. Right now, however, I did promise you guys some celebrity gossip. There's so many celebrity gossip, so much rumor mills. It's everything that's going on, from Emmanuel Hudson versus Spoken Reasons to Waka Flocka saying that cheating on his wife actually helped her grow in their marriage. And finally, Ellen DeGeneres. I know, Ellen DeGeneres. But all of that is coming right up. First, I'm going to be talking about Ellen DeGeneres. So if you guys do not know who Ellen DeGeneres is, she is a comedian, a very respected TV host. She is an amazing woman. I believe she was the first woman ever on TV to have a crush on another woman. I believe the show was canceled after that, but again, Ellen DeGeneres has always been very respected, very well liked. Everyone has always wanted to get on her show. Even myself, when I was going to California, I wanted to get on her show so badly. I was like, look, I have to get on this show. Today, there's just been such bad exposure on Ellen DeGeneres, and people who have come forward to say, hey, she is not a nice person. So first we're going to get on to Nikki Tutorials. If you guys do not know who Nikki Tutorials is, she's a very known makeup artist on YouTube. She does bomb makeup tutorials. Her makeup is amazing. And she revealed that she did not have such a pleasant experience during her time on the Ellen Show. In her appearance, she talked about coming out as a transgender, and now she is giving more specific details about what went down during her time on the show and what made her so mad. So, during her time on the show, Nikki said that she did not receive a hi or anything by Ellen before the show started, but instead she was greeted by an angry intern who was a bit overworked. She said that she felt more cold, or she said that things felt a little bit more cold and distant, And she finished speaking on the matter by saying the experience wasn't as good as she thought. She revealed that she could not use the bathroom before the show, and every guest at Ellen had a private toilet, but she didn't. So I guess in some kind of way she felt mistreated. She also said that she couldn't use the toilet because it was reserved for the Jonas Brothers. She even goes on to say that during that segment, her interview got about 8 million views, while the Jonas Brothers only got 2 million. And then she went on to laugh. So, okay. Before I go into her staff actually going in and saying how she basically treats them bad, I'm going to talk about Nikki. I do like Nikki as a YouTuber. I like her makeup. I think she does a very good job. I think she's a very, very, very talented. This is what I kind of don't like with the YouTube community, especially very big, well-known YouTubers. I feel that they see themselves in this light of being in power and being a celebrity because millions of people watch them at home. Therefore, it's messing with their brain, and they're thinking that they're this big A-lister celebrity and they deserve their own bathroom, and they deserve for the host to come up to them and say, hello, thank you so much for being here. I love you. You do such a great job and you're such an influence for everyone. And although that may be the case for everyone, okay, maybe some people are like, yes, you are an influencer. You have influenced me in everything and I love you. A lot of people just look at them as they are, which are Z-list celebrities. And that's not me being disrespectful. That's kind of me stating facts and telling the truth. So not everyone looks at everyone in this big way. So Angela Bassett, for me, is an A-list celebrity. Other people might not know who Angela Bassett is. So some people, in Nikki's case, she's a big YouTuber to some people, but there's still people out there who do not know who Nikki Tutorials is. So for her to kind of have in her mind that she deserves all of this, I don't know. Okay. So going off of that, I wanted to talk about her staff. So Ellen was accused of mistreating her staff, significantly reducing their pay after weeks of alleged poor communication. So according to Blast, Ellen's talk show crew are furious over how they've been treated during the coronavirus crisis and the shutdown of studio production. Ellen's employees are reportedly distressed and outraged over their treatment from top producers. The main crew for the Ellen DeGeneres show are about 30 employees. Allegedly, the crew received no written communication about the status of their working hours, pay, or inquiries about their mental and physical health from producers for over a month. Employees reportedly said that the executives of the show would answer their calls only when they decided to. When they did answer, they wouldn't have any information to give them during that time. The crew is also reportedly upset about Ellen's decision to hire an outside non-union tech company. Employees reportedly said that the executives of the show would answer their calls only when they decided to. When they did answer, they wouldn't have any information to give them during that time. The crew is also reportedly upset about Ellen's decision to hire an outside non-union tech company. The company was hired to assist the talk show host in filming the show from her home. The crew was also highly upset for not being told that the show was going to be filmed remotely and that they weren't going to be a part of filming located in Ellen's Los Angeles mansion. They unfortunately found out through social media. So I do kind of see a trend going on with Ellen DeGeneres, and that is not communicating and being just poor on communicating. And I could see that from the article that I just read through Blast and with what Nikki Tutorial said about the communication just being terrible. Do I still like Ellen? Yes. Do I feel like the situation that she put her employees in was it was terrible? Yes. Actually, it was more than terrible. It was sad. These employees are going back to their homes, and again, these are people who need their money in order to survive, and they're doing everything that they can to make sure that her show is up and running and making sure that, audiences are still coming back and that the consistency level is still there, because there are ride or die Ellen DeGeneres fans, okay? But for the fact that Ellen DeGeneres did not tell them anything, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of unloyalty, I guess you can say, going on. So communicating is one thing, but the loyalty also has to be there too. So for her to go and hire someone outside of her employees and not even doing something as simple as letting one person know so that they can do a chain letter or chain talk, communicating, anything. She didn't do anything. And the fact that they had to find out through social media, it kind of tells you a lot about a person. Do I still like Ellen? Yes, I think she's funny. Do I like what she did? In no way. No way, shape, or form. I felt like that was very messed up. And speaking of being messed up, I wanted to talk about Waka Flocka, coming up right after this break.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now. Don't bother. What's hot on Netflix and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back. If you guys do not know who Waka Flocka is, he is an American rapper, okay? He signed to 1017 Brick Squad and Warner Brothers, okay? So he's the one who raps Hard in the Paint. He also raps No Hands, more of an older song if you're into it. But he's been in the news for some time, okay? He was the one who started that rumor saying that black people cannot get the coronavirus. Turns out that was wrong, okay? And a lot of people listen to this man, okay? So I want you to keep that in the back of your head. The fact that he said black people cannot get the coronavirus, okay? Keep that in the back of your head, because the information I'm about to tell you, you're going to scratch your head. I know you are, but keep that little nugget in the back of your head, okay? So in 2014, he married a woman named Tammy Rivera. If you know anything about Tammy, she has been on Love and Hip Hop, and then both of them went on Marriage Boot Camp, the hip hop edition. Recently on Twitter, an article came out from BET, and it was basically stating how Waka Flocka believed that cheating on his wife made her better. Yeah, no, your ears are not messing with you. Okay, yes. He claims that cheating on his wife, Tammy Rivera, made her better. He expressed his belief in a recent episode of him and his wife, Tammy Rivera's new show, Waka Flocka, What the Flocka, during a couples therapy session. He claimed his past indiscretions served a bigger purpose in their relationship. He said, quote, "I actually made her meaner. She had no idea what she was up against. It could have made her or broke her, and it made her even better than what I thought. It helped her." End quote. To which Tammy immediately shot it down during the idea. Tammy ended up saying, quote, "That's the thing. He thinks he helped me doing some of the evil and mean things he did to make me meaner. That didn't help me. What that did was add insecurities to me and make me not trust your judgment in certain stuff and made me not trust you in certain ways. It did not help me. You did not have to do that. Life would have done that." End quote. So I want to breathe before I say what I want to say professionally. It's so sad, but there's a lot of men and people who look up to Waka Flocka, okay? So for him to sit up there and say, cheating on my wife made her better, there's millions of people out there who will run with what he said. They will run with what he said. Just like there was a bunch of people who ran with what he said about the coronavirus and they ended up getting sick. A lot of them ended up passing away because of his words. For Waka Flocka to hurt someone so close to his heart, his wife, and say cheating on her made her better, it just doesn't sit right with me. She's even said it added insecurities, which we see with a lot of women when people decide to cheat. It's that question of, am I good enough? What have I done? So where he's not putting the blame on himself, he's placing the blame on her. He was the one who decided to cheat on her and lay with someone who is not his wife. And I just have a question. If Tammy was the one to say this, if Tammy was to reciprocate and say, you know what, me cheating on you made you a better husband, everyone would look at her upside her head. Everyone would say, I can't believe she said that. She's not a lady. How dare her say that? What kind of wife is this? What kind of mother is this? Everyone would say everything they can about Tammy. But the fact that Waka Flocka can go around and say it and stand tall in his words, that shows you what kind of man he is. Now I can feel myself getting angry. So I'm gonna rail back. Tammy has what I like about Tammy is that she is so open. She admits that there has been a lot of changes that came with their relationship. Okay, especially with the height of his fame. When they got married, he was very, very, very popular. And, well, he was very, very popular. And then with her going on to Love and Hip Hop, that just increased their popularity. And then with them going on Marriage Boot Camp, that made their height even bigger. So the fact that she has not only tried her best to stay faithful to her husband, you would think that her husband would try to do the same thing. No, instead he decides to cheat on her. And again, she claims that this added insecurities and this was a lot of challenges. And she even said she felt like she was fighting a spiritual battle by herself. I'm a spiritual person. So I believe in having a spiritual battle. I believe in spiritual warfare. I believe in this stuff, okay? And I believe when you get married, you become one. So it's two people, but you're both fighting for one another. That is your half, okay? So for the fact that she felt like she was fighting a spiritual battle by herself, I can't imagine that. And what I also can't imagine is my husband, the love of my life, the one I said, you know what? I don't want to be alone anymore. I want to be with this man for the rest of my life. The fact that he said something so grimy that cheating on you made you better, instead of him admitting to his wrongs, because I can guarantee you, if Tammy was the one to say that, if Tammy was the one to do half of the stuff he did, he would not still be there. I just can't. I'm not going to get as mad. I said I wasn't going to get angry. I can feel my anger boiling over. I feel like there is a lot of lack of respect that Waka has for her. And I guess in some ways that insecurity that he added to her kind of messed with her respect for herself. Respect on what she will and will not deal with. Tammy Rivera is a very beautiful woman, okay? And she has a business and she has different ways to get money for herself. So I personally believe that if this man is not treating you right, I understand marriage. I understand, being in love and being with one another through thick and through thin. This man does not respect her. He might love her. We never know what's going on behind closed doors. He might have, matured over the years. But by him saying that cheating comment, it just doesn't sit right with me. And then the fact that he can say whatever he wants to say and not realize the effect on what it has, not only over his wife, but over his children and over millions of people who look up to him. Like I said before, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. They were talking to a marriage counselor, so maybe he is trying his best to make sure that the marriage does work. But at what point will you sit down and take responsibility for your actions? At what point will you sit down and say, I cheated, I messed up, I'm sorry? Instead of placing the blame all on Tammy and saying, well, it helped you become a better wife. Well, if she cheated, could she say, well, it helped you become a better husband? Whew. With that being said, I am going to end this segment right here. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck on this segment for another 45 minutes. And after the break, I wanted to talk about Emmanuel Hudson versus Spoken Reasons. If you do not know who those people are, do not worry. I have you covered right after this break. Stay tuned.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
All right. Welcome back. This is our very last segment, and I wanted to talk to you guys about all of the drama stimulating around Emmanuel Hudson and Spoken Reasons. So if you've been on YouTube for a while, I know I have, you already know who Emmanuel Hudson and Spoken Reasons are. However, if you do not know who they are, Spoken Reason was a comedian on YouTube, and Emmanuel Hudson was also on YouTube before moving on up to go to Wild and Out. Okay, so if you know the song She Ratchet, Asking All Them Questions, that's Asking All Them Questions is where Emmanuel Hudson and Spoken Reasons go into effect. It was like really big in like 2011. Yeah, 2011. I remember because I was a junior in high school. So it was 2011. And recently, Spoken Reasons went on to Wild and Out. I guess he was like a host. He was not a host. He was a guest on Wild and Out, and basically on Wild and Out, it's a whole comedy skit. It's hilarious. And during that time, they have, at the end, they have a rap battle, I guess you can say, where they basically like clown on each other, but it's all comedic relief. There's no bad blood. It's just comedic relief. However, at the end, Emmanuel Hudson went in on Spoken Reasons, you guys, and it was talking about money not being paid. It was talking basically about how Spoken Reasons did Emmanuel Hudson wrong, and it turned into this viral situation that left everyone puzzled as to why Spoken Reasons would do something like this to Emmanuel Hudson. And after watching Spoken Reasons and watching Emmanuel Hudson, I am so disappointed in Spoken Reasons. I hate to say it, but I just am. Spoken Reasons was funny on YouTube, but then all of a sudden he kind of fell off to where you just did not know where he went. Emmanuel Hudson has always been really consistent on his YouTube appearances, him and his brother. And now that he's on Wild and Out, you can just really see his love for not only music, but for comedy. And he has always talked about where he has came from. So usually Emmanuel Hudson's not really a big person on drama. He keeps his family life very private. That's another thing that's the thing that I like about Emmanuel. He keeps his business private, and he keeps his professional life professional. Okay, so we know him from Wild and Out, but we never really see Emmanuel in any kind of drama, in any kind of mess. So we already knew from the fact that when Spoken Reasons went up there, at least I thought when Spoken Reasons guest starred on Wild and Out, I thought it was going to be like a family reunion because Emmanuel Hudson was on Asking All of Them Questions with him. So when all of a sudden during the rap battle, Emmanuel Hudson got on him, everyone was kind of like, what? And then there was a game that was played with DC Young Fly, and DC Young Fly basically said, you cut my boy out of a check. So it all stems back to money and how Spoken Reasons kind of took money from Emmanuel Hudson, and he just kind of just left him there. And that's what I was talking about earlier with Nikki, and how a lot of YouTubers feel like just because they're on YouTube and millions of people are watching them, they all of a sudden feel like they are this big A-list celebrity and they deserve this, and no one can tell me nothing. And I feel kind of, in a way, that's what happened with Spoken Reasons. He was on YouTube. He then transitioned on to some movies, and I feel like in some way his head got big. And during that time, he was stepping on people to get on top, because he was also, in a lot of his interviews on Instagram Live, he was saying on how he made some of our household comedian names because of him. And it just didn't make sense to me. So I guess in this case, when he was saying he made Emmanuel Hudson into the person we all know today, I feel like there was some kind of identity. I don't know how to put it into words, but you could really see how hurt Emmanuel was. And I don't think he was hurt because Spoken Reasons did him wrong. I think he was hurt because of how Spoken Reasons did it. He did it to someone who was just coming in to YouTube, who was going viral, who was creating authentic work, who was authentically funny, and who was an all-around good guy. Do I know Emmanuel personally? No. But I do, every time I see him, I don't see any mess. He's very loyal onto the people he's with. And I guess in some way, that's another reason why Emmanuel feels some type of way. It's because he was loyal to this person. He believed this person. 2010, 2011, YouTube was still trying to grow into how big of a mainstream it is now. So just imagine, someone who is bigger than you trying to put you on game to make more people come to your page and hopefully bring in more money. And then all this money goes into asking all of them questions. And Emmanuel's kind of sitting there scratching his head like, okay, where's my money? It's the sneaky things that Spoken Reasons did. And then the fact that he never apologized. Which is why I feel like Emmanuel Hudson was so hurt. He spoke very, very intelligently on his Instagram Live. He told Spoken Reasons about himself. And I think that that's another thing that a lot of influencers on YouTube have to understand. You are a person at the end of the day. And I don't even think it's just YouTubers. It's celebrities. It's everyone. You are a person at the end of the day. Okay, you did me wrong. You did me dirty. The least you can say is, I'm sorry. Because I believe at this point, Emmanuel Hudson he makes more than anything he was making when he first started off on asking all of them questions. So I don't believe he's asking for money. I believe he's asking for just a genuine apology. And I don't believe Spoken Reasons has given him an apology. I think he is still in this mindset of, I'm right. I brought you up. I'm the one who put you on game. So I shouldn't give you an apology. And it's just sad because you want to see people grow. You want to wish the best for everyone, even when they do you wrong. But the thing about karma is always going to come around. You might want it. This person, Spoken Reasons, was very popular for a very long time. And he was getting his blessings. And maybe Emmanuel Hudson was just sitting back like, this is not fair. But the thing with karma is it does come around to where Emmanuel Hudson was on movies and he's now on Wild and Out. Well, he's been on Wild and Out for a very long time. And he is a name in a lot of people's households. Even his songs have turned into payments. Okay. So he's getting checks. All right. What goes around comes around. And what I like about Emmanuel Hudson, when he went on his Instagram Live, he sat back, he told you about Spoken Reasons, he told you about the situation at hand, he gave you his authentic truth, okay? But in the same breath, he told spoken reasons about himself, but then he turned around and said, you know what, I wish you nothing but the best going forward in the future. That is maturity, because other people wouldn't do it. Other people wouldn't care about this person, if he gets money, if he doesn't get money, how he is, none of that. It's a mature act, and that's another thing that I was talking to you guys about in the Waka Flocka case, is that you don't understand who is listening to you and who is looking up to you. Coming up after the break, we have some good little news for you guys, something to keep you inspired throughout this next upcoming week. Stay tuned so I can share that with you.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
All right, welcome back. We have our very final inspiration story. And if you guys don't know who she is, she went viral all over Vine when Vine was still a thing. She's now on YouTube, and she's also been on Wild and Out as well. B. Simone is someone who is from Texas. I salute this young lady. She is such an inspiration because she set a goal. I believe it was in 2019 or 2018. And she said by the time she hits 30, she wants to be worth $1 million. And she has hit her mark. She just turned 30 and she has hit $1 million. Despite people making fun of her on Instagram, despite people talking about her, besides all of that, she has set a goal and she has made her goal. She used to do hair. She went out and did hair. She did live shows. She got more concerned about her finances and what she is spending and shouldn't be spending on. She is such an inspiration. And, I love the fact that she set her standards up high. She did not stop at 100,000. She did not stop at 200,000 or 500,000. My sis went to 1 million. And after she hit her 1 million, she said she wants to be at 1 billion. I just want to say congratulations to B. Simone. And I wish her nothing but great accomplishments and great endeavors in her career. So that is the end of today's podcast. I hope that you guys have enjoyed everything. I hope I have not lost you on this journey to the end. Goodness gracious, I hope I have not lost you. But with that being said, this is just like I said, this is the end of today's show. I would like to thank you for listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, once again brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review because that really helps us out. Also, be sure to follow us on all of our social media handles such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I would like to thank you once again, and I would like to thank you and have a good night, a good day, and everything in between.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.